And I think that's us. We're live. Everything seems to be working. Hello, everybody. How are we all doing today? Thanks for turning up on Sunday night. I know there's an awful lot on Sunday. It's a very busy day. We have Artimus. So, Arti, if you want to say hello and yeah, just do your wee thing.
Oh, my thing. All right. I'm Artimus Brain Sample. Probably best known for being a little bit obnoxious on the Twitters. But I'm also part of the group that makes up the Gonna Go For It channel, the interview channel, where you get one of four options, and all of the personalities are very different, although we're all friends with each other. But any given day on any given topic, you could get very different responses from any of the four of us. And my role is more of the kind of be a wise ass, occasionally ask a really good question, and then make everybody laugh.
Yeah, well, you sent me the Joker as the icon, so you're happy enough with yourself. I am the jester, come laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I try to aim for that too, man. Humor breaks borders as well. Humor breaks down walls. It makes everything a hell of a lot easier to talk about people, and if you cannot take yourself so seriously, all the fucking better. Like.
Oh yeah, no, it's always been a defense mechanism for me ever since I was the first memories in the house, or of me trying to make somebody in the family laugh to just diffuse something or to get attention or whatever. So, yeah, and I'm well aware of the uncomfortable source of my sense of humor.
No, well, I have to say, now, out of watching the Gonna Go For It, I would have seen you. Would you be there? Would you be the co-host, second host, or would you have been with Gonna Go For It more so than anyone, or longer? Or I know that more of the episodes I've seen that there's been a co-host on, I've seen you more, but that might just be biased.
I think I've done at least two, maybe three. Peter will certainly tell. I think we're probably pretty even on the number that each of us has done. I don't know. Peter would be a better source for that. I'm not so good with the math.
Yeah, but you've been there for a while. You've obviously been there for a while.
As near as I can tell, since it became what it is, I've been there from the beginning.
Well, I may get shouted at for this, and Peter's not going to let you live it down, but you do have your own channel as well, although I have you in the description as a co-host of Gonna Go For It and linked it as the channel. Yeah.
Yeah, my channel is not attached to this account. This gets very complicated. It's a long, awkward story about the thing that made me very angry. But I lost my old AOL account that I'd had forever. And it was literally unretrievable. And I used a lot of bad words with a lot of different people before I finally relented and accepted the fact that I was not going to have that email anymore.
Yeah.
But my Google account was attached to it. And I had to call them because the verification system wanted to send emails to me to verify who I was. That's not going to work.
No.
And I had a Gmail account, so that made everything go rather smoothly with Google, but it did complicate YouTube because in order for me to have those videos under this account, I would lose all of the comments and the numbers and everything for them, and they would be starting over. And that may not be a bad idea once I get to a point where I'm making videos on my own channel again.
Yes.
But for now, you can, if you search my name, I'm assuming you will see 2 channels. Don't click on the one that has me in a Santa hat. It's the other one.
What's the crack with the Santa hat?
Part of the complication is that I'm not real good with the computer stuff, and I remember changing that to me being in a Santa hat. Cannot figure out how to get it away from me being in a Santa hat. So for right now, I remain the festive Artimus brain sample, and I'm showing up in a Santa hat.
I'm in something similar situation with my Twitter account at the minute. My Twitter account is attached to my phone because I set it up, and at the time I had 2 SIM cards in the phone, and I wanted it to be, you know, the Twitter for this channel, so I set it up under a pay-as-you-go number and didn't put any email against it. And then I stopped using that number, didn't top it up for 6 months, and they cancelled the fucking thing. And when I rang them up and asked them, they were like, oh no, that number's gone. I even tried ringing the number to see if they'd give it to someone else, but verification code, man. So if I lose my phone, I can't get into my Twitter. I'm gone. That's
horrific.
Yeah, I'll have to start all over again. So I don't know, I'm in something similar of a situation yourself. I may have to ring Twitter.
My anxiety disorder would not let me live like that.
Well, the plan is I've got MathPig here. I've got MathPig 2 as a wee gaming channel. I've got Patreon MathPig. I've now got a fucking PayPal.me MathPig. And I'm going to arrive at fucking Twitter's door and go, look, there's 7 different things that says I'm MathPig. Yep. Let me the fuck into this damn account. Like.
Yeah, I hope that works better for you than it did with me and AOL.
Well, I don't know.
Here's the criteria that they were looking for was, now let's remember this is an AOL account. And yeah. I'm 50 years old. I've had that AOL account since 93, 92.
Damn. I know people younger than that.
Oh, I know lots of them. Several of them have worked with me and for me. But yeah, I had everything. I could contact my bank, my credit cards, Amazon. It was just the number of places where your email is how they identify you is horrifying. And the only 2 things that they would accept as you are who you say you are is me being able to tell them the credit card number that I used to make my last AOL purchase.
Oh my God.
Or the phone number that I used when I signed up with AOL. Now, the phone number I had, problem was that they needed to be able to call it and talk to me.
And where was this phone? Did you still have the actual phone?
Well, that was the thing is I was so angry. I'm like, you understand that what you're calling verification is probably easier to get around than anything that I would have concocted on my own. You're saying that if I give you a phone number, or hadn't given you a phone number, now anybody that has that phone number can verify themselves as me.
Yeah.
And that's your verification system. But at any rate, because I knew that was an easy workaround, I called the number and nobody had it. So I couldn't even, I was like, I will pay you to tell these bastards that you're me.
Yeah, that was my idea whenever they took the number. I was hoping that they'd passed it on to someone else, and I was just send out the text code. They then give me the text code, and I can add an email account to it.
Well, the equally insulting thing is that my email account was my real last name. My parents aren't Mr. and Mr. Brain Sample. Dogs, because I have 2 of them, and then at AOL. And I had, when I signed up for Google, somebody already had that.
You're not having an awful lot of fun. An
Are
awful
you
lot of
kidding
luck.
me? How the hell does somebody else have that? It's not, my name's not Smith.
How about, man, even MathPig on Twitter. That's why I'm MathPig too. Someone has already got MathPig, and the account has been closed down for unknown reasons. For whatever's going on there, I don't know.
Goodness.
But right, well, what I usually do, we did tangent. What I usually do is I ask people, why are you on the internet, Artie? What got you on the internet? Did you start on Twitter like Peter, or why are you here on YouTube?
Well, it started on AOL, obviously. I spent a lot of time in chat rooms because I was in my late 20s. And then I went a long time without doing anything with computers until, let's see, when did I had a Google Plus account before I had, I had my YouTube channel, but I didn't use it. But I had a Google Plus account, and that's where I met S.J. Thomason.
Oh dear.
Although she's that, all of that went so well for her that she doesn't even admit that she was even on Google Plus. Like, I have talked to you a lot. Why don't you recognize me? What are you talking about? What do you mean it's not you? Anyway.
Not an awful lot of love for her.
Did that for a couple of years, and then got on Twitter and started picking up followers relatively quickly. And now for, I think it's 14 months, I have been within 50 followers on Twitter of 1,100. Only rarely ever going over 1,100.
So it does go up and then back down again, and up and back down again.
Yeah, but it's always somewhere between 1,100 and like 1080.
Are you currently blocked by ASJ on Twitter?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Several times.
I got my first block yesterday. Well, I didn't know when it happened, but I noticed it yesterday. What do you call him? Oh, Mike Winger. Mike Winger has me blocked for whatever reason.
Yeah, the last time she blocked me was because the only reason I remember it was because I thought it was a pretty good comment, and I was sincere when I asked it. I asked her if she was lying to her political friends about who she is religiously, or lying to her religious friends about who she is politically.
So not being honest in total. That's just SJ.
Well, at the time she was major league lefty Democrat, and now apparently she's
hanging with G-Man.
Yeah, even on Twitter she's telling that lie, or she's actually had a change of heart, but I find that difficult to believe.
Yeah, she's hanging with people like fucking G-Man. That's more than enough of a descriptor.
Yeah, that guy's got an interesting story.
I don't know. When I've heard stories of his mum was drinking when he was pregnant, that would explain an awful lot. Like,
yeah, he doesn't look like he's got any physical ramifications associated with the fetal alcohol syndrome, but yeah, he's a special guy. The amount of anger that he has is, and his faux piety are just incredible, genuinely incredible. The unbelievable level of incredible.
Speaking of anger, right? Would you consider yourself angry towards Christian? Would you be an anti-theist? Would you be agnostic? Would you be atheist?
I think I'm an anti-theist, but I'm not. It's not that part of me isn't personal. I'm the only atheist in my family, so it'd be kind of ridiculous for me to pretend that I can't tolerate my own family. Most of my family is Catholic. My immediate family is Methodist or just stray Christian. My parents hadn't been to church since I was 16. That was 34 years ago. So it's not like they're, devout, but at the same time, they reacted worse to me being an out atheist on Facebook than they did a whole lot of other things in my life that I consider to be far more important than one of their friends finding out that their son was an atheist.
So you were definitely raised religious then?
I was raised in a home that had a religion. I would.
You were kicked out and forced to go to Sunday school and all that. But
yeah, there were enough. I grew up around enough Christians that let's see, I was probably 18 when I started telling people that God made me a doubter, but I'm a Christian.
God made you a what?
A doubter.
Oh, doubter, yes.
But it was just, it didn't really get to a point where I was considered myself an atheist until I was about 23. And then it was another good year and a half before, well, shit, that's full-faced lies. Probably the better part of a decade before I really got over the fear of going to hell thing. But having it in the back of my mind every time I was making a moral judgment probably didn't go away until after at least 18 months or so.
Yeah, well, it can be very hard to get rid of, like, especially if you've been raised and it's been drummed into you for so long.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine that tell me, and I've repeated it myriad times, that I'm more moral than the God that I believed in, and what I couldn't believe about a God didn't make any more sense to believe about a hell, and that pretty much fixed it.
Well, that's true, but then, you know, ignoring someone who you think is stupid and ignoring something where is eternal damnation and pain can sort of strike a wee bit harder, so it can take a bit longer to get rid of. Like.
Yeah, no, it didn't become an out atheist for many years after that. Probably did. Well, it certainly wasn't anybody calling me an activist until I was on Twitter.
And what about your little friend to your left there? Is he an anti-theist or is he agnostic or atheist? You have to say hello to Carl.
We don't really talk about that. It's we try to avoid religion and politics as much as possible.
It causes problems in the relationship, does it?
Well, I made the comment the other day. Somebody had posted something about Ken Ham. Oh, he was Ken Ham giving relationship advice or some shit, and I had to look it up. I didn't know whether or not Ken Ham was married because I didn't recall him ever talking about his wife. And so I look it up, and they've been married 48 years. And in that moment, I realized I learned the success or how to have a successful marriage that is to avoid referencing her at all ever.
That's old school marriage, yeah.
For as long as you're married, and that way you can remain married.
As much as my mother absolutely loves my fucking dad, whenever he's off for a week, she goes crazy. He's fucking under my feet. Would he just go outside or something? Just, you're in the way. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, my mom wasn't looking forward to my dad retiring, and she sure as hell isn't glad that he's around right now.
Are you married, Artie? Is that okay?
No, I'm the never has been married. Are you sure you're not gay crowd?
1 second, man. 1 second. It's just sitting there.
Yeah,
man.
When your own family says, "Are you gay?"
So I appreciate it, man.
You obviously made some errors in judgment along the way.
I am having the conversation here. Sorry, 2 seconds, people. I had a wee knock at the door.
Is this your head here?
This is my wee floaty head here.
And it comes up only when you put your head towards the screen?
Yeah, it tracks my face and tracks my motion and stuff. And then I send it out like this here.
Somebody's selling something? You want to buy a Hoover?
Maybe selling something, maybe dropping something off, maybe not. Right, I'm going to get back to this, man.
Somebody there to
see you
clean
later,
up
man.
your ashes from the fire pit?
We'll just say that a nice man has dropped some plants off. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's very nice.
Yes, running a wee bit late, so we dropped it off to the house for me. Lovely little plant.
Yeah, I was in the green industry for 25 years and smoke.
Well, I clearly smoke. That's obviously a beer or a drink or some sort. Whenever I seen you the other night on Gonna Go For It drinking that, it caught me off guard. I thought, first of all, you were drinking a bottle of hot sauce. I was like, right, this man likes to take it rough.
No, it's I got a thing about touching sweaty beers. I don't know why.
Oh, I just
It's not like
realized.
it's not like I need it to be in there for the insulation. Like it's going to last long enough for it to ever get warm, but they don't.
Yeah, sorry, I just realised I muted StreamYards for that and didn't mute actual OBS, so as Peter's pointed out, everybody heard me anyway. Yeah, so the man wanted to... You didn't get to hear me, but everybody was like, is this what you're doing here? Yeah, this is what I'm doing here. It's all cool with a floaty head and stuff, yeah. Well, at least it wasn't dead or... Oh... That's all I'm saying on that. Have you always lived in Florida, or are you from Florida yourself?
Say that again.
Have you always lived in Florida? Or, well, East Coast, sorry. Have you always lived where you are now?
I live in Indiana. Indiana's about 800 miles from the coast. I am directly south of the penis-looking Great Lake. If you look at a map of the United States or North America, there's the Great Lakes, and there's one that kind of dangles down. I'm at the end of that.
They definitely didn't hear that. I made sure I muted OBS for that. Damn dog. Man, honest to God, every time I go live, that dog wants out. It is unbelievable. It's like, he'll sit there for 3 hours, and then the moment somebody's face appears on screen, he's like, alright, I must annoy him now. Can I get out, please?
I didn't even think about it. My dogs are being really good because they missed the thing that usually happens at 5 o'clock in this house and didn't happen today.
Oh, well, mine's
And
been...
they're asleep behind me. So far, so long as I don't say a couple of words, I'll get away with this.
Now I took mine out earlier because he was whinging, and the moment I took him out, freaking thunder and lightning started, and I was just shy of halfway of the circle walk, and it was like, I'll just walk the rest of the way. Freaking thunder! He didn't have a clue what was going on.
Eddie will go outside.
It was quite funny because I don't know if you have them over there now. Well, you probably do. More modern cars are keyless, as in you get the key, you put it in your pocket, you don't need to put it in your ignition. And I'm out walking the dog, and I find a Suzuki key lying on the road. So I'm walking up the street, hitting the button in this housing estate, going, "Who's got a car? Can I steal a car here?" Because the key's still working and all there. So no, took it home. My woman's put it up on Facebook. Maybe somebody will find it. But yeah, that's an interesting story. Taking home a car key, or else robbing one. It could have went completely different. There was a thunderstorm. Just sitting in someone's drive and they look out their living room window. Is that a weird man with a dog sitting in my car? Yes.
Yeah, how much would that creep you out to look outside and see a stranger sitting in your car and drive? Jesus Christ.
I don't know if you've seen any of Wales or any of that, man. Wales has got it really bad. I seen a road today from Wales, and it was like 10 foot of water just flowing like a river.
Goodness.
Yeah, it's been really bad. We haven't got so much of it, but Wales has got an awful lot more of it.
Well, we've had our winter has been like London. I think it's been just above freezing and really thick clouds all the time. And right now the sun's out. Like I said earlier, it's maybe certainly within the first 10 sunny days we've had all winter right now. So here I sit. The dogs were outside. They played outside for about 4 hours. Came inside, got a bath. Well, sort of.
I'm not going to fucking talk about the weather. We'll make it a wee bit better. And one thing that always I wanted to ask you, Artie, your glasses. You always wear sunglasses. Is that because you're super cool, or you have reflection of the...
I think there's nothing can be said about these other than they make me look cool. They are corrective lenses. They do hide how glazed I look most of the time. I have squinty eyes anyway, and when I smoke, I'm very obviously big most of the time. So when I'm in public, I have another pair that these are for my sitting close to the screen glasses, and then I've got another pair of Ray-Bans that are for sitting in the car. I'm mostly farsighted, but I'm also a little nearsighted because I got astigmatism.
Yeah.
So I can get to a point where I can read more clearly with these than I can with my reading glasses. If I just bend the lens just right.
Now, my woman's like that. She has glasses and she refuses to take her glasses off. She's long-sighted. Now, she can see far away and can't see, obviously, up close. But she never takes her glasses off because she would have the same sort of fear as you. Plus, her dad doesn't help. Whenever she takes her glasses off, he's sitting in the corner going, moly eyes. You know, her eyes are very tiny. They look smaller. Obviously, they're the same size, but when you take the frame away, they look very small. And he's over in the corner going, moly eyes. It's not, doesn't
the other thing for me is that I get having lenses that are long break up the fact that I have a almost perfectly spherical head. So gives another feature on my face other than round and my bright red squinty eyes.
I'm as bald as a coot. This last couple of years I shaved my head and yeah, I'm an egg. That the shape of my head is more of an egg shape.
I'm definitely in the category of heed.
So your fights on Twitter, Artie, do you go out of your way for them or do people come to you? Do you find it, like, why do you do the fights on Twitter? Most people would refer to Twitter as a cesspool. Are you part of the cess?
I probably am. I don't know. I don't think I'm necessarily bring anything hateful. Anything more hateful than what I'm reading anyway with the person that I'm talking to. Like, it often I will escalate it based upon something that they've said, but as often as not, once somebody gets to a point where they're obviously lying to me, where they're either they're trolling or they're a po, I will treat them pretty shitty.
Then I come with machine guns.
Yeah, occasionally I'll get really shitty with somebody that like Johan, who we interviewed, couldn't have less respect for the guy, and I don't think I've treated him with any on Twitter.
Did Jesus turn up yesterday? Because I know I didn't get to catch it because I was with the daughter yesterday, and then when I looked back, it had been rescheduled. So what happened there?
I think they had a power problem. They seem to be having a lot of those, but
you've interviewed Jesus.
Yeah. Well, one of the Jesuses.
One of the Jesus I, is it not with an I?
Yeah.
How do you say multiple Jesuses? Jesus I, Jesus He.
Latin or Greek, I can't remember.
Not, you very rarely you would need it because there only is one true Jesus. But depends who you ask.
Well, obviously, that depends upon who you ask.
Yeah.
And then Jesus has a mother, apparently has a mother that is a man.
Yes, Johan.
Because why the fuck else? Yeah, that guy's he's really creepy and he's really manipulative and he's a raging narcissist, and I kind of treat him like he's all of those things.
But you like the rise. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah, I do enjoy a good tussle. Yeah. If it's a good argument, I learn something. I generally will make a friend at least for a little while.
Have you had your mind changed on anything recently? As Jim from Atheist Age always, has been saying, can name 2 things in this last year that he's changed his stance on. Is there anything that you would change or have changed, or are you all go fuck everybody? I am Artie, and you will listen to me.
I am largely set. I'm 50 years old, but as I continue to learn things, and I learn things through arguing, I can't remember what the argument was. It was a Christian that I was arguing with, and he had said something that I didn't think was true, and I looked it up, and I was wrong. And I went back to Twitter, and I said, "Hey, first thing I want to say is you were right. I was wrong. I apologize for whatever I'd said." And he immediately said something shitty in response to that. I'm like, all right, well then, watch how this goes.
No, well, at least at least you'll admit that. That's,
yeah, I'm trying to give you credit for something, you dick.
Yeah, well, that's the whole point. I don't want anyone to, when we're trying to aim here is for the skeptic community, not so much the atheist community? Because obviously we're all, well, not obviously at all. There's an awful lot of Christians here as well, and we've got Richard. So there's an awful lot of point of views here, but that's why we want to be more of a skeptic community, and being able to change your mind is an awful lot better rather than I'm an atheist, I'm smarter than all theists out there, and you are all stupid because you worship a sky daddy.
The only people that are theists that genuinely, like deep down, genuinely bothers me are the people that I respect because of how intelligent they are, and still they believe that. Because they will look for the truth in everything around them except for that, and that just, it hits me wrong. I can't deal with it. I've got one of my best and oldest friends. His dad, screaming Lutheran, but one of the brightest human beings I've ever met in my life. Like top 5 smartest people I've ever met. He worked in the defense contractor industry and telecommunications. He was kind of one of the reasons I ended up getting a degree in telecommunications, but really bright guy, but really committed to his Jesus. And I just fucking don't get it. I just don't get it.
Compartmentalization. Human beings are fantastic at compartmentalization.
He's a Marine too, so he's seen some shit, but as often as not, I think that's an excuse to continue to use the crutch you came in with.
We have a question from Peter here. He wants you to explain, is it Daphne Rimmel?
Daphne Rimmel, whatever. Yes, she's been the subject of 2 or 3 of my videos.
On your channel?
Yeah. She's an exceptional fucking human being in the sense that you can't. It's difficult to watch her and feel like you're watching that you're watching anything of substance, even though you can't take your eyes from it. It's not really a train wreck so much as you're watching somebody bleed out, and you're just staring at their eyes while they lose color. You're doing something that feels dirty and awkward, and that you ought to be doing something else, but you can't take your eyes away from it.
Yeah.
She's just fascinatingly fucking. She's nuts. She's an AIDS denier. She's apparently graduated from nursing school, but she ain't a fucking nurse. But she's an AIDS denier. She's a flat earther. I did a video about one of her claims was that the mesas in the southwestern United States are, and this is her pronunciation, sawed off trees.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
They're just stumps of giant trees, and
Yeah, I feel like that about Michael Tellinger. I think the man is absolutely insane. Nothing he says. Well, he has some views on society and the banking system, which I could sort of lean towards agreeing with. But he thinks that the fucking Anunnaki were real. That the gold mines of South Africa is where they stole the gold from. He's found where they converted aliens, converted the humans into aliens. And I can't not watch his stuff because it's fucking hilarious. But the man's crazy. But it is a guilty pleasure. I would be something that I have to watch him. But he's as mad as a hatter. He bangs stones together and look, resonance. This is how they built the pyramids.
Look, they float.
Man, he's that crazy and that out there that they give him a show on the Gaia Network or the Gaia Network, whatever way you want to pronounce it. He's got his own show and everything now.
I was telling somebody last night, I think, that I was on one of the first shows that Red's Rhetoric was on, and we were going through one of Journism's first videos.
That's really long time ago, man.
Yeah, feels like 1,000 fucking years ago, but it was, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago.
Well, in YouTube days, that's an awful long time ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me too. I had a heart attack since then.
You had a lot more hair then, possibly, no?
Oh shit! Yeah, first guy. The reason I started making videos was my first 2 videos are about a Christian flat earther named Mike Helmick. Are you familiar with Mike Helmick?
No.
He is a biblical flat earther, and he is a pastor on top of being a biblical flat earther. And he's one of the dumbest people you can listen to talk about either of those subjects. But he and I got into an argument on Google Plus, and I got so pissed off. I'm like, fine, fuck it. I'm going to watch your stupid video. And then I watched it, and I'm like, I'm going to respond to this. This level of stupid cannot just go unchallenged. And made the video, and I think still in the comments you'll see him where he says thank you for obviously watching my whole video.
That's all you got. Just a thank you for watching the video.
I cannot get anybody to talk shit in my comments to save my goddamn life. I got 0 fucking haters, man. How is that even? I've hit my fucking I've saturated the market with me on Twitter. It's 1,100 fucking people. But somehow nothing else I do gives me any haters on my fucking YouTube channel. How am I supposed to get any popularity if I'm not getting any hate?
Yeah, I was very excited when I got my first thumbs down. So, like a mark. Go on ahead.
I had something in one of my Daphne Rommel videos tell me that I needed to take it down. But that was just, I ended up making a video about her too.
Yeah, I don't get very many bad comments, which just means that people that's watching, we're not reaching out to enough Christians. That's my problem, We've got a few here that are open-minded, like Spartan Theology, and it's probably the most... And Tug hasn't been on in a while. Tug was actually my very first interview ever, because it was basically me testing OBS, so it's definitely probably worthwhile to get Tug back on again.
Still count.
We used to play, I played a wee bit, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, Blood and Bacon, where you run around a farm killing mad zombie pigs. It's quite funny. They fart on you and explode on you and vomit on you and poop on you and you blow them up. It was wonderful. But I haven't had that in a while. So yeah, we've got 2 real good Christians. I wouldn't call Peter a Christian. I wouldn't call Richard a Christian. Peter's definitely not a Christian. But... No, we want to reach out to more people and get more people in. People like yourself that are willing to have these conversations as well. Like, I'd say here's a platform you're willing to use, but you've already got you've got Peter's channel, so I'll not steal views from Peter.
Oh well, he will tell you that it's our channel, and speaking on behalf of our channel, I don't give a shit.
He wants me to ask you about. Do you have a tissue with you? He says,
I have it.
Yeah, tell Arti to have a tissue. He'll know what you mean.
I have a roll of paper towels. What the fuck? Huh?
I have no idea. I hate it when that happens. When somebody, I've seen that in the chat before, when somebody says they'll know what you mean, and then you say it, and then they're like, I haven't a fucking clue what they mean.
See, here's the problem. Brain sample drinks. And a lot of the time, I think you can appreciate why. A lot of time when I'm talking to Peter, I'm drinking. So I sincerely don't. Oh, you know what? I figured it out.
Have a tissue.
Yeah, it's from it's from one of my Daphne Rommel videos where I will admit that I feigned vomit as well as fake vomit can be feigned. And that involved a tissue. And Daphne Rommel, what spawned it was Daphne Rommel talking about, she was reading questions or complaints from viewers. I guess it was a list of complaints. And one of the complaints was obviously from one of her Christian followers that she was showing too much cleavage. And she's literally, she still does it. I think this was the first video of hers where she filmed it, where she was in this one, she's sitting on the back of the toilet.
Okay.
She's filming herself in weirdly lit bathroom while she sits on the toilet. And when she's talking about this, her showing too much cleavage, she says, she starts onto this fucking rant about me showing too much cleavage Does that make you want to jerk off? And then she reaches around and grabs a box of tissues and starts pulling them out one by one and says, here, have a tissue. And here's one for your brother. And here's one for your friend. And here's one for your uncle. And here's one for your dad. And I was like, oh, you sick, twisted bitch. What the fuck is wrong with you? Here's a tissue for your dad to jerk off to my tits. Really?
And this is the Christian.
Yeah. And that's her response to, somebody who's more Christian than her telling her to stop showing so much tit.
Well, hashtag free the nipple.
Yeah, here, tissue for your dad.
Well, when you do get your channel back, have you any real goals for it? Do you have anything what bar the arguments on Twitter? If you had a channel, would you have arguments on it? Would you have discussions? Are you just going to put edited videos up? What drives your creativity, Artie? Bar shouting at Christians.
I tend to make edited videos, and there are 1,000 reasons that go on that have kept me from making videos in more than a year. Oh shit, it'll be 2 years in May since I put out a video. But I had a lot of ideas about just 30-second, 2-minute, 3-minute videos, and pretty sure I'm going to start doing those first before I start jumping back in and trying to make full-blown response videos. But yeah, that's probably the direction my channel's going to go. What other projects I'm involved with and the directions they're going to go, I'm not taking the helm of any of them.
Oh, you just get brought in for giggles, shits and giggles. If you need a laugh, bring in Artie. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. One of the things I'm most proud of is that I've got almost 20 stand-up comedians that follow me on Twitter. I care more about how many stand-up comedians follow me on Twitter than how many people follow me on YouTube. So,
well, look out for them stealing your fucking content and then flash back to a Twitter, sue them, and then don't have to work.
Does the name Yakov Smirnov mean anything to you?
No.
He's a Russian comedian. He and I have gotten to the point where he and I are having conversations on Twitter. And he was huge during the Reagan administration. That's how old this fucking Russian comedian is. He's famous for saying, America, what a country. He's just, say that to anybody that's 50 years or older in the United States, they're going to know where that came from. And I talk to this fucking guy on Twitter now. It's just...
I used to watch stand-up comedy every morning now when I would get to work and be having my breakfast. There was is it the dry bar comedy or something like that there. They try, not to swear and things like that. So it's safe for kids and all that. But there is it's comedy. It's still comedy. There was one guy, and I'll send you the link to it. And he's black, obviously. That's the color of his skin. Well, according to him, he's wrong. We're all wrong because he went into what we would call like a B&Q, like a homeware shop, and walked up and down the paint aisle until he found his exact color, and his exact color is chocolate indulgence. He's like, I'm not black. I'm chocolate indulgence. It is still one of the funniest skits I've ever seen. And he's talking about the white. He's like, "You're not actually white. You're papaya. That's your color. You're papaya." It's like, you're bored. You want to find out your exact color? Just go down to the hardware shop. Walk up and down. Get yourself one of them pallet aisles. Just hold it up. Put it against your arm. You find your exact color.
Yeah, even better if you find it in several different brands, so you know all your names.
It obviously comes down to the point of we're all the fucking same, there's no race, shouldn't be any racism and all that.
Yeah.
Still one of the funniest skits, and for a show that doesn't swear and tries to keep it cool for kids and all that, still one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, that's pretty edgy for a show like that, frankly, especially a morning show.
Well, no, I watched it in the morning. It's a YouTube show. It's on YouTube.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can watch it whenever you want. I think it's called Dry Bar Comedy. I'm nearly sure that's what it's called. But yeah, no, it is. But I've fallen out with watching comedians. I just don't have the freaking time anymore. There's too much shit to do, like between work and all that there. And I did watch, what do you call him? I Will Kill You! The wee puppet.
Kids in the Hall?
No, it's a puppet. It's a stand-up comedian.
Oh, the...
Ahmed, isn't it Ahmed? I Will Kill You! He blew himself up. He's a suicide bomber that blew himself up, and he's just a pile of
I'm trying to
skeleton.
think what that fucking guy's name is. He's a big Trump fan, that guy.
Is he?
Yeah.
Well, I recently watched his special on Netflix, but no, apart from that, Jeff Dunham. Thanks, Dave. Dave's watching. Dave's actually listening. That's a big thing. Dave's supposed to be probably over at AXP, which is where an awful lot of people are. Unfortunately, Sunday, I don't know, man. For the God's Day, nobody rests on Sunday. YouTube is fucking lit on a Sunday with shows happening. Like,
Well, everybody that's got a fucking day job tries to do something on the weekend, and everybody tries to hit Friday night and Saturday. So now it's filling up Sundays.
yeah, well, I don't do Friday night or Saturday night. That's family time. I usually do Tuesdays and Sundays, and then me and Richard have our thing on a Thursday. We were reading. He's skipping. He says here he is skipping AXP purely for Arti. So there you go, Arti. You're gonna have to do something special for Critical Cripple.
He's a lovely man.
Dave is fun. Dave is setting up. He's starting to stream as well now, and he hacked a certain program, and it is now set up for like a quiz. You're a good man. You're a comedian, funny man, right? Let's steal this. You have to think of the name for a quiz with possible of at least critical in the name. Critical in the name.
I sent it to him.
Oh, did you?
It was critical cripples questions with a C.
With a C.
C-U instead of Q-U.
I seen the critical cripple conundrums, which I thought was good. Whoever come up with that.
I thought the names that he had come up with on his own were more than sufficient.
Yeah, critical
I
quiz.
gave it some thought. I mean, I put a good 3 or 4 minutes into it, and that's at least 2 minutes more than I put into my fucking name. So,
Your actual name isn't Artimus Brain Sample.
no, strangely,
No, where did Brain Sample come from?
it's a Monty Python bit.
I have watched Monty Python, but I don't know. It's been an awful long time, and I wouldn't say
Well,
that I'm a huge fan, so I don't go back and watch. Obviously, The Life of Brian. We all love The Life of Brian.
Yeah, no. When I was a kid, the Flying Circus was on public access or public broadcasting channels, but I didn't watch it. I didn't get the humor. Didn't get Fall of the Towers. Didn't watch any of that. It was all available. I didn't watch it, and then as I got older, and I began to appreciate not just English humor, but all dry humor. I started watching Flying Circus episodes, and that shit just makes me laugh. And Brain Samples came up. It's that they're characters, but they're literally walk through the shot like that, and by the time their name is mentioned, they're beyond the camera and they're never mentioned again. It's about a superhero. I can't remember what it's called.
That's right. You're thinking it's about a superhero, and I'm thinking you're emulating
It's called the science fiction sketch.
the fact that it comes in and disappears so quick. I thought like you're like a fart in time. And then
No, they're at the very beginning of the video, or of the shot of the whatever the bit, and camera's looking down a sidewalk next to a train station, and there's a couple walking up towards the camera as the narrator's talking, and he says Mr. and Mrs. Brain Sample, and then they have nothing to do with this, and then they walk past and go down into the train. And then there's 3 different parts to the sketch, and it's really long. It's like an 18-minute sketch. And at the very end of the sketch, Mr. and Mrs. Brain Sample save the planet.
Just for no reason.
The only time they're in the sketch at all is at the very beginning and at the very end.
So
17 minutes worth of shit between the first time you hear Brain Sample and the next time you hear Brain Sample. And I just thought Brain Sample was the funniest fucking name. And then when I was putting together my Twitter account, I wanted it to be a Brain Sample. So I was trying to come up with a clever first name that began with A. And I took both spellings of Artimus and misspelled them both. And that became Artimus Brain Sample.
Right, because at the start of it, when you said that they just come in and disappeared again, that you were looking for, I'm not important, just, I'm here, hi,
yeah,
and then go.
Just
come in, you do your thing, you drop a bomb of comedy, you drop a fart, and then you just leave again.
It was just, I just love the pacing of that. I mean, the joke, I love the pacing of that joke. The joke starts when you don't realize it's being told, and the punchline comes, and you've forgotten that that the setup was even there. I love that shit. There are hints of it in pretty much everything that I do that lasts more than 3 minutes, including sex.
You come back 15 minutes later. And you just come back 15, you bang her for 2 minutes, then you leave and come back 15 minutes later and what? Throw it at her? There you are.
I'm going to need pizza and at least 2 gnats.
You're 50 now. It's got to that stage. Are you going to Faithless Forum or anything like that? Do you take part in the wider skeptic atheist community or anything like that on YouTube?
As I watched that as a community and as a thing that happens publicly, it seems to be a thing that swells in popularity and then eats itself, and then it swells in popularity and it eats itself. And I think it's more entertaining to watch that happen than to be part of it. So I'm more than happy to sit back with my 1,100 people and occasionally make somebody really laugh out loud about once a day and be happy with that.
Yeah, I can definitely see where you're coming with that. I've had conversations with Critical Cripple, and the whole thing that's going on with the non-sack and Steve and all that there, and there's people that take sides and things like that, and I've been referred to as fucking Switzerland, which I don't like, because as much as I'd like to be...
That's DR, man, that's not you.
Oh, yeah, David's fun, but yeah, David's not fun.
I fucking love Dave.
Dave's good, and he's got DaveCon. I've got my ticket bought. I will be book as soon as I get off stream here. I'll be booking not the hotel. There is an apartment. We're booking the entire apartment, just 10 minutes up the road. There's me and Critical Cripple and a couple other people going.
I saw you guys talking about that in the group.
Yeah. So, and it's worked out cheaper than the hotel for one night, and we're getting it for 2, and it's a 5-star sort of apartment.
Sure, yeah. So. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I wish I could do that. I will probably never travel overseas because I kind of have I'm of the opinion that if you leave a dog at home and you go on vacation, more often than not you come home to a dead dog. So I don't tend to travel without my dogs.
Yeah, it took me a wee while to find somewhere that I was comfortable leaving the dogs with, an actual kennel that I was comfortable leaving with the dogs. There was one year we left, and within a week, the entire dog underneath the skin went red, an allergic rash and all that. And I rang the vet or the kennels up. There was one night he had an accident in the kennels. I'm not sure what time it happened, but we cleaned it in the morning. He could have lain that all night, and it obviously reacted with his skin, and he ended up in the fucking vet and all that. And that's it. Nothing that could be done. We creamed out of food, but I get what you mean, man. The guy that I send, I only have one dog left. The other dog did die. I put him down on August the 14th last year. But my dog that I have now will be 16 in April. He is an absolute tank of a dog. He's a Jack Russell crossed with a Staffy. So imagine like Arnie Schwarzenegger crossed with a Jack Russell. That's what my dog looks like. He's just a tank of a dog. He is an absolute another fucking cunt, full of personality, full of disrespect, does what he's told, but he is such a personality. And as they say, every owner or every dog becomes their owner, so I don't know if that's my fault, but...
but I put down my best friend on August the 13th. Let's see. I've been, it'll be 13 years ago this August. and I got Shorty, and I don't think maybe slept away from her a total of 15 days or nights rather since I got her, and almost half of those are because I was in the hospital. So we don't tend to spend time away from each other.
Yeah.
And she's very much like your dog. She's awesome on a leash. She's incredible. I don't have to say anything to her. She just knows.
Oh, Pot, you can't. Pot's useless on the leash. Pot is awful. He hates the lead. He is an ignorant. He runs about 30 foot ahead of you. Then you call him, and he turns around. He spits or barks at you, and sits down and waits for you to catch up with him. He is an asshole, an absolute asshole. And he's that strong that nobody can walk him on the lead because he is so strong. He's better off the lead.
And that was the dog that I put down August 13th. She was. I did a lot of hiking in my 30s and early 40s, and she was a magnificent trail dog. She would lead us to places where we're like, oh, wait a minute, where the hell is the trail? And if you looked where she's 30 feet in front of you, and she was on the trail, whether you could see it or not. She was on the trail. And before the advent of GPS, that was a nice thing to have in the woods.
Oh, no. Pot, again, is completely different. He loves to just run and stuff. That we have a thing here called the line.
Pavlov he was never on the trail. I would hike 10 miles, and he would have hiked 50 because he's just running back and forth across the trail, up and down the hills. He could seemingly jump straight up cliffs. He was an incredibly athletic dog. And then when I put him down, I ended up with Eddie. Eddie was beaten before I got him. Oh. And if you ever get a chance to see what a sweet dog that is, you want to shoot the person that beat that dog, because why the fuck would you have to beat the dog like that?
Well, that's actually how I got the dog that I have now. When I first moved out, I moved out into my first house on my own, paying rent and all that crack when I was about 20, 21. And my next door neighbour at the time, we were in what we would refer to as a granny flat house. 1 bedroom, 1 living room, 1 kitchen, wee small area, cheap rent. It's mainly for older people, but it's all I could fucking afford at the time. So I got it. And the guy next door to me was getting it paid for by the government. That's what we have over here. Good programs, and some people can't.
Yeah, right.
In saying that, he had been moved around from town to town because he was an absolute deplorable person. And he had a sheepdog, like a wee sheepdog, like a wee collie sheepdog, black and white type thing. Never brought the dog into the house. Always had him tied up outside. Couldn't stand this man, and he would be up all night and sleep all day. And I caught him one day with a plastic pellet gun, like a wee BB gun, I think you would call it, wee tiny BB, and shooting the dogs. And my dog, what we call him is Pot, P-O-T, and he was only a pup at the time, and he's obviously barking at the door, wanting to get in. And he put him over back into the doghouse, and about 20 minutes later we heard him shouting at the back door, and I went out, and he was with a plastic BB gun shooting it at the dogs. So I called the RSPCA, and he got removed from the house. The dog got removed from him. They went to take the pup away, and I was like, no, I'm taking the pup. And I took the pup, and I've had that dog now this April for 16 years, man. And when when he goes down, I'm going to need a week off work. Like, I will, I'll be like yourself. He is my best friend and has been for a long time. He is very independent. Like, I could leave the dog alone. Like, whenever my wee girl was just born, my woman, as I explained earlier, lives very far away from me. And you can't put a 1-year-old baby or 1-week-old baby in a car and drive for 2 hours. It doesn't work, Yeah. So
no, you put him on a fucking airplane. That's what you do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I would stay here to maybe 6, 7 o'clock at night, and then I could leave the back door open with the yard and stuff, and leave the living room open with the heating. And Pot's fine. He's got his bowl of food. He goes and eats. I come back maybe about Sunday at 3 o'clock. He's been on his own maybe only 14, 15 hours, but he's grand. You come in and you switch the light on. He's laying up on the sofa with a fat belly going, you fucking woke me. Why did you wake me? He's very independent.
Yeah. The dog I had, that she's the one that has raised every dog since. She raised Pavlov raised Shorty's raising Eddie. Rudy's the root of that tree. And she was the California blonde that I slept with for 16 years. She got her from the Orange, California pound, which is just south of Los Angeles, where I lived when I got her. And got her because my girlfriend went and picked him out, or picked her out rather, and she picked out the one dog at the pound that didn't pay any attention to her because she didn't want another dog after ours had run away. We had a shepherd wolf that left a shepherd wolf sized hole in the living room screen when we got to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So she got this dog that she didn't fucking want, and no matter where she was sitting, Rudy would be in her lap. No matter how small the chair was, Rudy was in her lap.
Yeah.
And she fucking hated her. But ultimately, after she got to be about 3 years old, she was an amazing dog for 14 years. But for the first couple, she was fucking pain in the ass. She was horrible.
Yeah,
she's just so smart and so headstrong, and she was funny. She had a sense of humor. She would, when she laughed, she'd go, and just got to a point where like she does that every time she does something. She's laughing. And now I realize that Shorty does the same thing. Only hers isn't. She doesn't make that noise. She sneezes and then yawns. That's her laughing. But I fucking love dogs. My dogs have all been awesome, but
Mine,
all because
at the
Rudy.
start, was very jealous of the daughter. Didn't, he was very, as it would be, he had me on my own for the guts of 13 years, and then you have to share it with the daughter, which obviously gets all the attention,
Sure.
And but you see now he knows that the pack order goes me, then the daughter, then him, then the girlfriend. He doesn't listen to the girlfriend at all. Pays no fucking attention to her. She has to scream and shout at him for him to fucking listen at all, and only if she's a treat in her hand. But the daughter, he knows that, I've obviously taken her under the wing. I would teach her to tell the dog to sit and stay and all that sort of crack, and he's very protective of her as well. I think he's going to hang about just long enough for her to remember him when she grows up and feel sad about the loss. Oh. Peter, well, I can't remember if Peter was around when that happened or not, but you've definitely heard the story since. My most recent ex, she, and I think we all know the hell you're headed towards when you hear the words, okay, I want to ask you a question, but I don't want it to be a fight. Right. Sure. What's the question? I was never anything but honest with her, and so she says, why do I have to live the rest of my life with dogs? And I said, you don't. Yeah. You don't have to live it with me. Yeah. And that was the last time we were a couple. She threw me out of the house, and that was the last time we were a couple. Well, my woman does like dogs, but she likes them stupid little, I think, what does the dog she have? A Pomeranian crossed with a Shih Tzu or something. I thought you were going to say it was one of those Chihuahua dogs. No, I like big dogs. Like I'm a German Shepherd man. The last dog. I like a full-size dog. Shorty's 35, 38 pounds. Eddie's 45, 48 pounds. Yeah. When Marley was at his full weight, he was close to 40 kilo. Whatever 40 kilo is. In pounds. Jesus. He was fucking massive. He was, he would stand up and put his paws on your shoulder, and I'm 6 foot. Oh yeah. The shepherd wolf, his name was Samson, and my girlfriend was 5'2", and Samson was taller than her on his hind legs. Yeah, the wee dog I have now would not be 2 foot long, and he's 17 kilo. Now he's not fat and he's not overweight. He's just a tank. Samson wasn't that big, but he was probably about that weight ish. Yeah. I'm not as good with kilos as I am with kilometers, but I think Samson was about that size. I've got a picture of him when he was 11 months old when we moved to California, in the back of the truck that we're loading up with our shit. And it's him with his paws up on my girlfriend's shoulders, and he's 2-3 inches taller than her. Yeah, I love big dogs. The only problem I had with Marley is he didn't realise his size and he would knock the daughter over an awful lot. Because you'd just be walking and turn around and just fucking knock her flying, you know? It's just like, calm down, dog. She's tiny.
Now,
You know?
the one thing I lamented was that Rudy would have been really good with kids. She was really good with kids, but she would have been really good around, my kids.
Yeah.
She would never step on anybody's feet. She's always very dainty when she licked the jelly off of babies' faces. And
Yeah.
drove my fucking sister-in-law ape shit to see my dog licking something off of her baby's face. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, just let it happen.
Yeah, my woman's like that. It's like it does no harm. I even taught my wee girl to take a treat, put it in her mouth, sit down beside the dog, and the dog comes up and just takes it out. Like,
Yeah.
I have a memory of my
I don't
last.
want to watch the dog's tongue go in your mouth and then make the inside of your cheek move.
Yeah.
I don't want to watch that, but I don't give a shit if a dog gives me kisses, and that dog's mouth stinks, and she gives me kisses all the time.
Mine, if you stand and lean back at close to, well, not quite a 45-degree angle, and stick your foot out, like a ramp, and go, give us a hug, Pot will actually run up you, put a paw either side, and lick your ear and give you a kiss and a hug.
That's awesome.
It's class. Right, well, on that note, we will stop this for 10-15 minutes. We'll probably maybe be less than that. We'll come back for an after party. Yeah, everybody, thanks very much for coming. Artie, your channel will be never happening. When are you going to go for it again?
I don't know. It's not as easy to attract people that want to talk to me as you would think.
Really? I don't understand that. Don't understand that.
I think the last two people I talked to on that, I think it was the last two, I kind of lost my, I definitely lost my shit with the first one. The second one was Johan. And the first guy, I have a son who was adopted, and I haven't seen him since he was about 6 years old. And this guy has children that he said repeatedly that he didn't care how often he saw his kids. I'm like, fuck you, I can't talk to this motherfucker.
I was there for that stream.
I'm seriously just gonna fucking go. I'm sorry.
I was there for that stream.
I turned my camera off and I sent a DM to Peter. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I can't talk to this son of a bitch.
Yeah, no, that's the guy who I said was my very first interview that I played Blood and Bacon with that I have to get back on again. That's Tog, this one guy. Yeah, me and him and another fella had maybe a 45-minute or an hour-long hangout after that show with him. And I keep saying to Peter I have to send it to him. But yeah, we gave him dog's abuse for that, and he sort of defended himself and came around. And we had a good conversation about what had happened. It would be definitely worth listening to. So,
sure, yeah.
Yeah, on that, we will end this. Everybody, thanks very much for coming. We'll be back soon enough. I didn't even get the wave. Nobody's even seeing you waving. I put the outro up, man. They can hear you. You can say bye.
Just tell me when you hit the button.
You can say bye. Bye.